Rob Tabbert here for Boxing News, joined by the one and only Leigh Wood. We are here in Ben Davison Performance Centre in Harlow. Leigh, always a pleasure to catch up with you. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. We're nearly there. It's been a long, hard, challenging camp, but I'm ready, man. I'm ready to go.
Let's jump straight in. You say you're nearly there. Of course, your rematch with Mauricio Lara. We have to go back before we go forward. So let's talk about that night a couple of months ago. Don't want to dwell on it too much. But of course, you were stopped and lost your WBA featherweight title against Mauricio Lara. What happened, Leigh?
Got chinned, didn't I? That's it. You can use that as the video where, quote, got chinned. And that's it. I got caught. Regardless of what happened before, I got caught. He won. Time to put it right.
Now, much of the consternation around that fight and a lot of the talk around the fight was around the stoppage. Now, you had a little bit of time to kind of reflect on things. What were your thoughts on the end of the fight?
It's hard. As a fighter, you would rather be... Well, I can't talk for everyone, but myself, I would rather be carried out and go out that way than a towel coming in or the ref stopping it or anyone saying, no, you're not. I'll always keep fighting. One arm, one eye, one leg, whatever, in my head, I'm winning no matter what. I did get up a bit too fast, but, that's exactly why you got a corner there to protect you. Fighters need saving from themselves because that mindset, what it takes to get in there is sometimes what leads you to that decision. Sometimes you need to be saved by someone. Ben knew that we had the rematch clause. He's doing his job, looking after me.
Kind of the way that I look at it is potentially if that fight would have carried on and, the worst would have happened and you'd have been brutally knocked out, I don't think you would have really been in a position to get the rematch now. Do you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah, possibly. You're never going to know what was going to happen. That's what this rematch is for. What was beautiful about this rematch, you're right. You don't know you don't know what was going to happen. He could have come out and absolutely teed off and hurt me, or the opposite. He could have blown himself out trying to knock me out, gassed out, and I could have knocked him out. I ain't got a quit in me. And that's still down to the imagination now. And the rematch is fast approaching, 27th of May, and I can't wait to put things right.
Speaking of the fight itself and, of course, preparations for the rematch, what was it like being in there with him? Of course, you're kind of looking at it from the outside, but you've now done 7-odd rounds with him. What was Mauricio Lara like and what are you preparing for this time around?
Yeah, he's very good at what he does. There was times in that fight when I was pushing the pace and forcing things because I thought, well, nothing's happening. I need to do something. And, I've learned a lot from that fight. I'm always learning. I'm still learning to this day, even in the gym. But more so on fight night, you learn things. You come across things you haven't seen before. Like I've never seen that style before. I beat people that throw more punches than me. I beat people that are more skillful than me. But I've met someone there that can punch and is sharp and fast on the counter. He likes to lure you to sleep with inactivity. And I learned how to deal with that. Looking back now and going through the footage, I know what I need to do.
How hard did he punch?
It's hard because all fight week I was catching Ben's punches on my arms, was blocking and bracing, and it's so heavy. It's heavy-handed. I had bruises all on my arms, and when I got in there initially, I thought I took up a take a few, and they just bounced off, and I thought there's not a lot there. But it's not really the thud of his punches. The weight of his shots is quite sharp. It's quite fast, and of course the shot that chinned me, I slipped onto it, so there's two forces colliding.
So, heading into it this time, is it very much I'm always fascinated to speak to fighters and trainers when it comes to a rematch, because obviously, you need to change certain things about it and in order to kind of right the wrong in your mind. But preparing for somebody a second time around, bearing in mind everything that you learned, not just from the camp before. I mean, you had kind of 2 camps before anyway, because of course the first fight was postponed. But you had the fight night. How does that change your preparation at all going into the rematch?
We've made slight adjustments, which are going to make a big impact in the fight. But they're only little things, but they do make a big difference. I do know him quite well. I don't believe he's going to change his style. I don't believe he can. Yeah, he can change his style, which is quite funny because when I look back along the people I've boxed recently, they can't really do anything different. What they do well has got them to there, but they can't adapt. that's the best ability I have, is being able to adapt to beat these styles. So like I said, I've made small adjustments. I know what I need to do. I know what he's good at. I know what I can't afford to do. And I'm confident in getting the job done, and try not to give too much away and talking riddles. But I know what I need to do.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm never asking for the game plan to be revealed. We'll have to tune in on the 27th of May, of course. How close were you to not having this fight? Because we saw kind of reports from Eddie Hearn, from Josh Warrington, Sean O'Hagan about Lara Warrington 3, and it was a bit up in the air, it seemed. But what's your version of events?
That wasn't down to me. There's never a second in my head that I thought I didn't want the rematch. Just to be clear, it was I wanted that as soon as possible. And next, and no one else was ever going to get in the way of that. But Eddie did try his best. I don't want to write him out here, but I had to dig my heels in and say, no, that's not happening. And he's like, well, it's going to be then, okay. It's going to be here, okay, whatever. And that's what I had to do. And it was never an option for me, because if I'd have stepped aside and let him box someone else, and then the belt got passed around, and then mandatories, you never know. At my age, as well, like, it needs to be now. It's never an option for me.
You obviously had a run-in with, I say run-in, it's respectful, with Josh Warrington at the Notts Forest and the Leeds match before the fight. Is that still something that in the future, I know you won't be looking past the 27th, but is that something that in the future you'd still like to do, Wood versus Warrington, beg your pardon?
Yeah, for sure. And, the City Ground fight is still the main reason I'm sat here today. Still the main reason I'm still boxing. Still, it's the top of my priority list. It's my dream, and it's still. I'm in my head. It's still going to be done, and it's going to be done hopefully in the next few fights before I retire.
It looks as though Nottingham Forest going to stay in the Premier League as well. So happy days.
Hopefully, all being well. Arsenal at home on Saturday, Palace today after my fight. Hopefully, I can give them a bit of a confidence boost and make it a winning weekend as well.
Hopefully so. Just moving on from yourself and talking about a few other bits and pieces coming up. We spoke briefly off camera about a certain Josh Taylor going over to New York for his fight against Teofimo Lopez. I know you'll be backing your ex-gym mate and your friend Josh Taylor, but an interesting fight. And I was kind of saying to Lee McGregor, of course, who was kind of working out behind us just a little bit there, that 18 months ago, 2 years ago, this is probably one of the best fights you can make in boxing. Now it's kind of being looked at a kind of loser goes home type fight, isn't it?
It's a great fight, and I think it's one that favours Josh. He seems to be buzzing. Training is slightly different now, new gym. He seems to be buzzing and back to his old self. How they do things is slightly different. I think it does suit him more. I might even go out to New York and watch that and be ringside to watch Josh defend his belt. It's a massive fight, but like I said, it's one that favours Josh, and I do think he'll get the win there.
You say it favours Josh. Why do you feel that?
Just stylistically, as we've seen against Carroll, without giving too much away, it was all wrong for Josh, that style, and it's not negative, but very patient counter punching and two southpaws. This is fight. You're going to see the best of Josh. I believe that 100%. I think he's going to get the win.
One of the things that I kind of spoke to Josh about since the Jack Catterall fight is, he needs that mad Scotsman back a little bit, the Hank time. And I feel like from his own admission, he spoke about, potentially looking past Jack Catterall and thinking about some of those other big fights. It looks as though, I think Teofimo Lopez, because him and his dad are, not short of a few words. It looks as though he might have that bit of fire back for him for this fight, which I think could be important.
Yeah, I can understand as well. Looking from the outside in, Catterall, you'd not really had a massive win compared to Teofimo Lopez, so he's going to get him up for it and make him more motivated. And think, well, I can't even be 50% with this kid. I need to be 100% to beat him, and that's what's going to bring the best out of Josh. And that's why I'm going to fly out there to watch him do it.
Okay, right. Before I let you go, of course, you've got May the 27th, which is your fight for a world title. There is, of course, somebody else challenging for a world title in the featherweight division, a certain Michael Conlan.
Oh, and another one. It's a great opportunity for Mick, and I back him. I think he's going to do it. I think it's you don't get easy fights for world titles, no givens, but if he can keep him off and do what he needs to do. And be smart over the stretch, I think he can pull off the win. Great night of boxing. Three world title fights on one night. Massive night of boxing. I don't think that's happened for a long time.
Absolutely. And we caught up with Mick a couple of weeks ago, so we've got something coming out next week. We of course discuss yourself. So hopefully, I mean, from a selfish point of view, from the boxing fans' point of view, I'd love to see the rematch, and if it can be for a unification, then all the better. Right. Last thing, I did it last time. I'm going to do it again. You were very good last time, and I know you're not going to let me down. I want you to look into that camera there, and I want you to tell Mauricio Lara what's waiting for him on May the 27th. It's revenge for Leigh Wood.
Yeah, I don't like to be disrespectful, but I've put my heart and soul into this. I've worked my arse off for this victory. And to Mauricio Lara, I hope you've had a good camp. I'm coming to get my belt back.
There we go. You heard it here. Thanks very much, Leigh. Always a pleasure. Thanks very much for having us down to the gym. Wish you all the best on May the 27th against Mauricio Lara.
Thank you.